On July 29, 846, the Tang Dynasty mourned the loss of a significant leader, Li Shen, who served as chancellor, guiding the empire during a period of both prosperity and strife. Li Shen was appointed chancellor during a pivotal time in the Tang Dynasty, known for his administrative skills and contributions to the civil service examination system, which changed the course of Chinese bureaucracy. His influence extended to the arts and culture, as he supported poets and artists, fostering creativity that flourished during the golden age of the Tang Dynasty. Despite his accomplishments, Li Shen struggled with political rivalries within the court, maneuvering through the complexities of loyalty and power during his tenure as chancellor. Li Shen's death was reportedly due to illness, a somber end for a man who had dedicated his life to the service of the state, leaving behind a legacy of governance and reform. His legacy inspired future generations to value meritocracy within the bureaucracy, paving the way for reforms long after his passing, affecting Chinese governance. Li Shen began his career within the Tang court, focusing on the study of Confucian philosophy, which deeply influenced his administrative style and approach to governance. His dedication to Confucian ideals helped set the foundation for his future policies. In the early years of his political career, Li Shen served under Emperor Xuanzong, where he championed significant reforms in the civil service, allowing talented individuals to rise based on merit rather than noble birth. He played a pivotal role in the establishment of the Jinshi examination, which became the highest and most prestigious degree in the Tang educational system, impacting the recruitment of officials for centuries to come. Li Shen's policies emphasized not only education, but also equitable taxation, which alleviated the burdens of the common people, garnering him widespread respect among various social classes. Despite his many successes, Li Shen faced opposition from rival factions within the court, leading to political strife that threatened the stability of his reforms. Despite the challenges, Li Shen remained steadfast in his beliefs and worked diligently to navigate the complexities of court politics while continuing to implement his vision for the state. Throughout his life, Li Shen was a patron of the arts, fostering relationships with prominent poets like Du Fu and Li Bai, which enriched the cultural landscape of the Tang Dynasty. As a governor, Li Shen introduced agricultural reforms, improving irrigation systems that increased crop yields and promoted rural prosperity, solidifying his legacy among the peasantry. However, political envy grew stronger over time, and Li Shen found himself surrounded by enemies who sought to undermine his authority and accomplishments. In his later years, Li Shen suffered from declining health, yet he continued to work tirelessly for the betterment of the Tang Dynasty until his illness became critical. On his deathbed, Li Shen's thoughts were filled with the legacy he would leave behind, the principles of meritocracy and welfare he fervently championed. His passing on July 29, 846, led to profound mourning across the dynasty. Officials and commoners alike expressed their grief at the loss of a visionary leader. Li Shen's funeral was attended by dignitaries and officials from all over the empire, underscoring his importance to the Tang Dynasty and his legacy in Chinese governance. Following his death, there were calls for reform among his successors, as they reflected on his contributions and the ideals he championed, emphasizing the need for integrity and governance. His legacy shaped the civil service examinations for centuries, influencing not just the Tang, but successive dynasties, demonstrating the lasting impact of his approach to governance. Over the years, the civil service examination system would yield a new class of scholars who would govern China with the ideals Li Shen advocated. creating a more just society. Li Shen has been remembered as a pivotal figure, not only for his policies, but for instilling the value of education, which became a central tenet of Chinese culture. In art and literature, Li Shen has been immortalized as a wise leader, inspiring stories and poems that celebrate his legacy as a transformative chancellor. Tales of Li Shen's wisdom continue to be shared across generations through folklore and educational texts, illustrating his innovative administrative methods. Li Shen's influence spread beyond China, admired by scholars in neighboring countries who look to the Tang Dynasty as a model of governance and culture. As centuries passed, Li Shen's principles formed the basis for modern interpretations of meritocracy and governance, emphasizing that talent and education should prevail over aristocratic lineage. Ultimately, the legacy of Li Shen serves as a timeless reminder of the importance of ethical leadership, influencing both historical scholars and contemporary leaders alike. The year was 846. A time of cultural flourishing in the Tang Dynasty. Li Shen, a prominent chancellor, dedicated himself to reforming the civil service, establishing a merit-based system that influenced Chinese bureaucracy for centuries. Li Shen's commitment to governance was evident as he embraced Confucian ideals, focusing on moral integrity and the importance of education in civil administration. His approach laid the groundwork for future leaders. Under the reign of Emperor Xuanzong, Li Shen spearheaded crucial civil service reforms, most notably establishing the Jinshi examination, a pivotal moment in Chinese history for selecting government officials based on merit. His policies on education and equitable taxation gained wide respect among various social classes, earning him acclaim as a champion of the common people and an advocate for stability across the empire. Despite his contributions, Li Shen faced intense political rivalries at court, where envy and contention among officials posed significant challenges to his reforms and vision for governance. As he approached his later years, Li Shen's health began to decline. Nonetheless, his resolve to serve the Tang Dynasty remained unwavering until he succumbed to illness on July 29, 846. The news of Li Shen's death rippled across the empire, prompting mourning ceremonies in major cities. People from all walks of life honored his legacy, showcasing his impact on the Tang Dynasty. Li Shen's funeral underscored his significance as a statesman, with high-ranking officials and citizens reflecting on his ideals of integrity and effective governance amidst the sorrow. In the aftermath of his death, discussions of Li Shen's reforms continued, inspiring policymakers and scholars to revisit and promote the importance of meritocracy in governance across the empire. Li Shen's influence transcended his time, molding the civil service examination system, which became a hallmark of Chinese governance, setting a standard for future dynasties to prioritize merit over lineage. Today, Li Shen is remembered not only as an administrator, but as a visionary who promoted education and ethical leadership, ideals that resonate profoundly in contemporary governance discussions. Artistic expressions during the Tang Dynasty flourished partly due to Li Shen's patronage, as poets and artists thrived under his encouragement, leaving behind a rich cultural heritage. Li Shen's administrative legacy continued to be a driving force behind reforms in subsequent dynasties, emphasizing meritocracy and striving for a just government. The civil service examination system established by Li Shen has served as a model for educational practices worldwide, fostering an environment where talent and hard work are rewarded. Li Shen's approach toward governance, emphasizing moral integrity and public welfare, has inspired countless leaders throughout history, across different cultures and nations. As his legacy redefined the value of education and public service, Li Shen inspired a generation that recognized the importance of a knowledgeable and ethical leadership. To this day, Li Shen is honored in various memorials and educational programs in China, where his reforms continue to be studied as a foundation for modern governance. Li Shen's life and death illustrate the eternal struggle for reform and integrity in leadership, resonating with common themes of political transformations throughout history. The Tang Dynasty, heralded as a peak of cultural and political achievement, owes much of its bureaucratic innovations to the foundational work of Li Shen, whose principles still echo in today's administrative practices. In a world where governance continues to evolve, Li Shen's legacy is a reminder of the profound responsibility each leader carries to ensure justice and equity in their administration. Ultimately, Li Shen remains an enduring symbol of the virtues of wisdom, dedication to public service, and the necessity of a meritocratic system that thrives on fairness and equality. Li Shen's ability to adapt his governance style in response to the changing political landscapes provides a masterclass for future leaders on resilience and innovation in public policy. As historians continue to analyze his contributions, Li Shen's role in establishing a civil service rooted in examinations has established an enduring legacy in educational reform worldwide. The reverberations of Li Shen's death on July 29, 846, serve as a pivotal point in understanding the evolution of Chinese administrative philosophy and its influence on governance globally. Li Shen's philosophical beliefs, grounded in Confucianism, continue to resonate with leaders today who seek to balance power with ethical considerations and public service. Amidst the challenges leaders face today, the principles of competence and virtue established by Li Shen guide contemporary discourse on effective governance and public trust.